I'm here at the 2024 Southwest Kiln Conference. And so today's Friday, and we're gonna take you through the whole experience. Today, on Friday, we're gonna do presentations in the morning. So I'll show you some of those presentations. Some of the longer ones I'll put on separate videos. I'll just show you snippets of it on this video. And then later on, there's gonna be like some demonstrations, people doing different things. I'll show you that. Tomorrow's when it gets really busy. There'll be a bigger crowd and there's gonna be a lot of firings going on. I'm gonna try to cover all of that for you. And then Sunday's pretty short. We're just going to open up the kilns, talk about the results, and then everybody goes home. So this video will show you the whole kiln conference, or attempt to show you the whole kiln conference.
Hey, welcome. My name is Jeff Osgood. This is
Mark Rossier.
There's two things that I adore about being in the Southwest, and one is going to the Kiln Conference, and the other is when I bring students to Crow Canyon. And so it made good sense to try to bring these things not together, but actually back together. The origins of the Kiln Conference are right here. And so it's a wonderful kind of full circle journey for us to be returning back to this place. Paul is going to take us on that journey to really talk about those first kiln conferences that unfolded here. So I'm going to welcome Paul up here to be your first speaker for the day and pass the microphone.
So what I want to do is just talk about one of the research things that grew out of Crow Canyon, which we called the Kiln Conference at Crow Canyon. So anyway, the Kiln Conference was originally proposed by Eric Blemon and C.D. Wilson, and the purpose was to bring together archaeologists and potters and Native Americans to examine various aspects of ancestral Pueblo pottery manufacturing and technologies. So the first Kiln Conference happened in February of 1991. Sort of the rules were you had to use local clays, something that you could get in this area. We're only going to use fuels that would be available. So that would have been pine, juniper, and maybe corn cobs. And these are typical examples of what I would call gray on orange, Mesa Verde gray on orange, and this is what a lot of the pots came out. There just wasn't a lot. So these pots were extremely oxidized, and because the clays have a lot of iron in them, so they took that in, and that's kind of the results.
But Paul, thank you so much.
Great.
That was great.
And I'm going to put this right here.
Thank you, Mark. My first kiln conference, I think, was in 2011. I'm all about 100% authentic. So I want to do what they did. In the meantime, I want to make gorgeous pottery, but mostly I want to do what they did. And I'm the one that's sitting in a ruin out there thinking, now where are they getting their water from? You know, so I use my own urine in the clay. I've painted my blood on pots, all this kind of weird stuff. So I want to be authentic. I want to be in their head. So anyhow, let's talk about kilns, right? Because we don't go out there and study what they did. How do we know that we're doing, I mean, if you can make a beautiful pot, great, but how do we know we're doing what they did? Owen asked me once, how long does it take a mug and paint it? 3 hours. I can paint one, I can make one and paint one in 3 hours. But we get stuck in our modern world. You know, it's a little bit different. And all you're seeing when you look at museum collections are the best of the best. For everyone you see that's on display, there are 500 ugly ones downstairs that didn't make. They want to put the pristine out, right? So you're not seeing the quick paints.
Sure.
It's all right.
So I will just go ahead and let him proceed.
Thank you. On Tuesday, I was camping out in the desert in New Mexico, collecting clay, and I got a text message asking me if I'd do a presentation. Okay, so the subject is reduced iron paint is easy, just ask a Cibola potter. And I reference the Cibola potters because if we look at like members pottery, we see lots of failures. I mean, if, we don't know, right? But if they were trying to reduce all their black and white pottery, there's a lot of them that are all red, have red spots that are a little on the brown side, but the Cibola potters seem to do it consistently every time, black and white. You rarely see like a Tularosa that's red or even has a red spot on it. They're very good at what they were doing.
Absolutely true.
Well, that's exactly what I always tell my students is there's no right and wrong answers in pottery.
Right.
It's just what works for you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's what's passed
Yeah.
So Andy, thank you so much
Sure.
for jumping in at the last minute.
Yeah, you're welcome. This is the stuff that I'm selling out here today. I've got pookies, I've got gourd scrapers, I've got polishing stones, I've got t-shirts, organic paint, and some bandanas. Over here, I think this is mostly Kelly's stuff. Kelly Magleby. She's got a bunch of pottery up here. I don't know if she's gonna fire all of it, but it's cool. And this is John's corrugated pot. See that? And look, right next to it is John Olson. There he is himself in the flesh, right here. And there's my sister. You might think she doesn't look like me, but she's not really my sister. And over here, this is Wayne Keene's famous collection of photos. So he collects pictures of ancient pots off of the internet. And he's got thousands and thousands of them, all organized into binders. He's got them all digitized. He's got them all associated with keywords so he can look up, like he puts in Tularosa, boom, like 5,000 pots show up instantaneously. So that's the story of that. And he brings these binders to the Kiln Conference to share with others. Let me see if I can show you what Wayne looks like. That's him. He's a good guy. He lives right here in Colorado, right here in Cortez. And over here, we got somebody who was working on a mug right there. I don't know the story of it. This person looks like she's, what are you doing, making yucca brushes? Very cool. Trimming yucca brushes. Very interesting. Are you painting a bowl? Very interesting. You're a good painter. Is that bee plant? Uh-huh. Very cool. Is that your mug too? Or your son's? Or? Oh, the Kelly Magleby's mug. Okay, yeah. Very cool. Nice. Over here, there's somebody making a datura pot. That's very cool. Can I film it? Is that okay? Yeah, that's very nice. Is that yours, I assume? Very cool. You're not going to fire that tomorrow, are you? That would be very ambitious. All right. What's your name?
My name is Jane.
And what is it you got there? A little redware pot?
Yes.
It's very pretty. What is the material? Did you collect it yourself?
The material is a wild clay that I have added rice water to. I tried that rice water technique.
Uh-huh. What are you working on there, Jake? Corrugated, huh? That is beautiful. Very nice. Did you just start that today? Very good. How about these? Whose are these? Are those yours too? Oh, wow. You're going all in on the corrugated, huh? Nice. And this is really typical of what Bob does. Like really, really nice, super precise painting. That's beautiful, Bob. I like the little dancer around the neck. That's cool. Over here, people are painting tiles, I think. Tile painting. They've got like a members book that maybe they're getting inspiration from there. Is that all bee plant paint that's being used here? Very cool. Over here, this is Rod Dotson, and he's doing some flint napping. So not everything that goes on here is pottery related, see? Primitive skills.
Between it, and it's such a clean slice that it heals in half the time and makes very, very thin.
Here's the Kiln Conference t-shirts. They've got a lot of them still sitting out here. I guess people that haven't shown up yet. And everybody's hanging out on this porch and just kind of doing stuff, see? Now, look at this. This is Asher. You might recognize him from his famous YouTube channel, Asher's Wonky Pottery, where he makes wonky pottery. Let's see some of your wonky pottery, Asher. Nice. That's way too nice to be wonky. I'm sorry, you've got to make it wonkier. This is where the pottery that's going to be fired tomorrow morning is being accumulated. So people are bringing it, putting it on these tables, and then the kiln masters are kind of sorting it out, which ones they're going to fire, which ones they don't want to fire, which kiln they go into, and so forth.
Right, and mine's pretty tall too.
There's a lot of pottery here.
Your buddies. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Firing day! The early birds.
Okay, it is Saturday morning at the Southwest Kiln Conference, and it is a hive of activity out here. There's all these people here to watch, and over here we have a bunch of fires getting started. I'm actually waiting to start my fire until the pots get here. The students are supposed to bring them up here at 8, which is about 15 minutes. This is a big pot that Kelly did. And then we've got a couple of surface firings going on over here. I think 3 actual surface firings going on in this area. And then there's a big pile of firewood on the far end of the firing area here. And this is the big trench kiln. This is where they're going to be firing all that smothered organic paint pottery here. There's only a couple pots here now, but there's going to be a bunch. And then I'm doing a reduction firing over here in this little hole in the ground as soon as the pots get here. So that's what's going on this morning. And then this afternoon there'll be other activities. This should wrap up by 11 o'clock or so.
I'm gonna get drinking this and I'll come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Yeah, off the spot, right? Right? In that pocket.
They didn't want to fire by myself all the time. I'm used to it. Somebody else gets in here, I'm like, what am I doing? I don't know what's going on. What do you remember? Do you know your name? I can't remember. Where do you live? I can't remember. What do you remember? I remember the Alamo. And everybody's like, yeehaw!
Oh yeah, these are a big jar. I don't know, I can't do it with that.
There you go.
What you doing, Andy?
I'm being hot. I'm sweaty. I'm not super comfortable with juniper because I don't usually use juniper, but I've fired with it in the past. I think it fires very similar to mesquite, so we should be all right. That's the big question mark in it, is the juniper. Woo! Would want to stand downwind of that.
So fire was great. It was really hot.
How hot did it get?
It exceeded 750 Celsius.
We had a little flare up in the beginning. As soon as we lit the fire, the wind came up, and we got a nice, unexpected hot flare, which is not ideal.
They're good dogs. Yeah.
You think there's enough space between? Here's one.
Are you adjusting the...
Trying to fill in those holes, those windows where, cool air can get in. I want a nice bed of coals when I'm done over all the pots.
How many different fires you got going here?
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess only 5. 1? No, there's 3 because Kyle's has been done for like over an hour. Really, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's another one going to happen because Bobby hasn't even started yet, and he's going to do a coal firing later.
Tell us about the tan, Kelly. So the tan is helping to drive the heat back down because we want those pots to keep heating up. And especially with this wind that's come in all of a sudden, you're like,
Before you fire, you'll pull the tin off.
most of it. I do want to use one as like a cover shard. Yeah. Oh yeah, we're good.
740. 740 right on top of that little bowl. That's all I can see, I think. Might be able to get a shot over here. There's a cover sherd. I got 780 on that cover sherd. Yeah.
You're trying to get to 850?
Well, optimally, but I think we're probably okay. My biggest concern right now is just moving the coals around because we've got some pots exposed, and I just want everything covered in coals as it burns down. So as soon as they're done with the show. I bet it's not even hot out here. I bet it's like 69 degrees.
What's it feel like?
Huh? It feels like 85. Got to make sure you got nothing that's still flaming a little bit because then it'll create carbon that'll gray your whites.
Cool. Amy, introduce yourself.
Oh man.
Amy's famous.
So famous. Hi, I'm Amy Joy Osterman.
Amy's a wild clay expert. She goes all over Colorado. She teaches workshops and stuff about it, and she has a really great Instagram page where she posts all kinds of stuff. Not only the pottery she makes, but a lot of times she'll be out collecting wild clay. So anybody that's interested in wild clay should follow Amy.
Yeah, Stinky Cheese Ceramics.
How's the waiting? You know what Tom Petty said? Waiting is the hardest part. It is. It really is.
I feel good about it.
You know, you've got a pot like a polychrome pot, and it's fired to the point where most of the coals are falling off of it, but those reds are still like chocolate brown. And you can pull it, and it's not until you pull it out, it can sit there in the coals as it cools down, it just stays chocolate brown. You know, once you pull it away from the coals, it'll just instantly start to red. It's crazy. We'd love to have like a chemist or somebody really explain this.
Like you need to drive.
Jim, I haven't seen you all day. Saturday afternoon, we came back, cleaned up a little bit after being out in the sun and working hard all morning firing those pots. And people are hanging out here on the porch. It's kind of a big porch area. And people are selling stuff. Some people are, making pottery, doing different things. But I thought I'd show you what was going on. Later on this afternoon, we'll have a lunch, a potluck dinner. So that'll go on at, I don't know, like 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I think it's maybe 2 o'clock now. Leander Gridley is making a mug. He's probably made a few mugs in the past. He's not new at mugs. There's Justin Deacon, he's making a mug problem. He makes a lot of mugs. There's John, he's making corrugated. No stranger to corrugated either. He's making about 430. About how many corrugated pots do you make, John? In your lifetime?
2 today.
In your lifetime?
Thousands.
Right.
And then with this one here, just decides with the polishing. Very cool.
I managed to trying to raise money for the homeless soup kitchen.
That's right. Right. Yeah, right.
This one is the hematite stone, and I had to hunt for it.
That's what I've always heard.
And so I just...
Very pretty. I like the designs and printed on the bottom. This is my friend Hopi potter Bobby Silas, and he's come here from Hopi with coal. So the Hopis fired with coal traditionally up until about the time the Spanish arrived. From that time on, they fired with sheep manure. But Bobby is bringing back the practice of coal firing, and so he's come here to do a demonstration. He's going to light this coal off and fire the pottery. The coal doesn't get any hotter than, say, wood would. In fact, some of our wood firings this weekend will probably exceed this coal firing in temperature. The real strength of the coal is the duration. This stuff will burn for about 12 hours, so it'll burn all night long. Give it a really good oxidizing soak, and it results in really hard, really beautiful yellow pottery, as you'll see.
That's called. That's called sulfur.
That is true, right? Because then you get that blush.
Yeah. Also,
So excited.
Okay, Sunday morning, the last day of the Kiln Conference. All those firings that we did yesterday morning, the oxidation firings, the surface firings, those pots are out. We know how those firings did. But a lot of the pots, probably most of the pots that were fired here, are still underground, and we don't know how those firings turned out yet. The big trench kiln that was full of all that reduced organic paint firings, that's still smothered. Kelly's little organic paint firing, that's still smothered, and my reduced iron firing, which is pretty small as well, is still smothered. And so this morning is really the climax of the conference. As everybody gathers, we pull the dirt back, the coals, we open the kilns and see how the firing did. Once everybody gets their pots, then people take a group photo and everybody goes home. So this is the end of the 2024 conference, but also the climax of it. Everything come out perfect?
Yeah.
Any cracks or anything?
No.
Wow. You really know what you're doing, Bobby.
They're
Like you've
really
done this before. So Bobby opened his firing and took the pots out before I had a chance to get over there with my camera. This happens a lot this morning. But I'm happy to say his pottery firing came out perfect. There were no blemishes, no cracks. Everything was just beautiful, Hopi yellowware. And I'm happy to say he sold all of his pots to people that were at the Kiln Conference. So that's great.
If you're not familiar with this process, you're going to want to wipe the ash off to really see what you got. There's a bunch of towels over here.
And today it's a dry wipe because you'll probably have this layer of ash there that you'll wipe away. And then when you get home or to the campsite or wherever you're going, and it's cooled down, you can also run it under the water to get some of the ash soot and things like this off it too, and it might brighten up a little bit more.
These gatherings don't come together easily, and the people who organize it and do all the logistics deserve a big hand. And so for all of the folks, Mark and Jeff,
I'll say something. I think the word community, this community is really important to me, and I think the word is being common unity, and I really value that unity, and I wish you all health, happiness, peace, and love.
Every single face I see here and have seen through the weekend is somebody that I would like to see again. And it's just a joy to be around these people. And that includes the old folks and the young folks too.
Gotta see it.
Want me to do a...
Beautiful.
Hey Andy, can you get out of our shot?
So happy. I'll go get a rag.
This one is
So one thing that's really helpful to look at this stage, with everything still in its place, what happened in different parts of the kiln. And what that's giving you is a read in really how the air moved through the kiln, and temperatures and combustion. And so we like to look at that before we start to pull everything apart, because where the pots were in the kiln and how they look is a lot of information.
So you're going to want to take them back to your camp. Not yet. We want to get a picture of all the wares that come out and how they looked and everything.
And then with everybody with pots.
Yeah, and all of us. We're going to get a group picture too. So.
What is it about you?
Bob, is that yours?
Your baby. This?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Looks good.
I think it came out really nice.
Mineral mug?
Oh, that's mine.
A lot of clouds.
Let me see the inside of that bowl when you're done there.
Anybody's, is this anybody's?
So I kept hanging around the firing pit looking for my mug, thinking my mug's in here somewhere. I want to see it when it comes out. I want to get video footage of when it comes out. But I never saw it. Eventually, I got up and looked on the table, and there was my mug. Well, somebody must have pulled it out when I wasn't looking or something, had already wiped off the ash and everything. So here's my mug. It's a little bit dingy. It's got a lot of carbon in the clay body, you know, that didn't burn out in the firing. But it's okay. The blacks came out good and black, and hey, it's uncracked. It's a great addition to this season's Ancient Pottery Challenge, and I'm glad I have it after the explosion that destroyed the original.
But it was all so white when I put it on that I didn't.
And how about this side? This.
Broken pot.
I wonder why that is. Yeah.
There's yours. It didn't reduce real well. It's brownish. That's Asher's. That one's pretty good. All right. Very nice. Here's my mug. Yeah, just hold off. Again, didn't reduce real well. A lot of kind of reddish brown color.
No, they're all, well, I'll show.
This is, I think, Wes's. Yeah, it's Wes's. We didn't reduce, and the stuff that was deep, that we didn't reduce well, and the stuff that was deeper in the pile, we didn't burn the carbon out very well. On this. Yeah, this was the bottom. This was the center of the stack. So we did burn the. You know, I might have had to do with the wind because it was late when I still fired this and it was a little breezy. It's clean on one side, it's not clean on the other. So as you can see, my firing was a bit of a mixed bag. Some of the pots reduced real good and some of them didn't at all, including my mug, as you can see here. Most of it is just kind of a reddish brown color. So this is going to be fired again to try to get it right. I mean, it's fired soundly. There's no cracks and everything. You could use it, but I'm going to fire it again to try to get those iron paints to turn black as they were intended.
Nice. Everybody say manganese. I said it wrong. Perfect.
Yeah, it's just that reddish brown clay. You know, it's sensitive to temperature more. So better if you're putting something in the pit, make it out of that gray clay. That's it for the 2024 Southwest Kiln Conference. It always surprises me how fast everybody leaves. I sat down with Leslie Lynn to talk for about 20 minutes about plans for next year's conference. And by the time I was done, almost everybody was gone, heading back home. Which reminds me, I've got a long drive ahead of me. In case you're interested in learning more about how those trench kilns are fired, I did a video at a previous conference that goes into a lot more detail about the process of firing a trench kiln. And I'll link that up right over here in case you're interested in learning more about that. Thanks for coming with me today. I'll catch you next time.